first, I've got to ask you about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign. You know, I first met Robert when I had him on my show in May of 2020. I think he was the second guest I ever had on our Digital Freedom platform, which I had to create because we were getting censored by YouTube. And I walked into that episode telling Robert I was going to get my vaccine. And by the end of the episode, my scientific MIT trained brain was thinking, wait a second, I need to really listen to this man and think long and hard about it. And I had an amazing conversation with Robert. We've had him on since. And quite frankly, it just kills me when I look at the mainstream media's portrayal of him, because anybody who's ever spent an hour talking to Robert can realize he is an incredible man, has a tremendous amount of integrity, a great vision. And so I was just really happy to see him running and to see you associated with his campaign. How's that been for you, and how did that happen?
Yeah, Bobby wrote the foreword to my book, and he was one of the people who, along with Gavin DeBecker and Tony Lyons of Sky Arts Publishing, they all kind of pitched the book to me. And they said it's important that I use my data and get my voice out there, because it was a different voice at the time. It was a Wall Street voice. It was a trend analysis voice. I didn't go into the science. I went into the body counting, ones and zeros, disabilities, ones and zeros, and now we have injuries, ones and zeros. So that was my contribution to this fight. I've got to know Bobby. I've done a couple speaking events with him for some of his former. Well, he's no longer with CHD, the nonprofit he founded, because he's running for president. But we did some events. Got to know him very well. He's a man, like you said, of integrity and honor and truth, and that's an emerging trend. I think it's a nascent trend, but it's going to explode. And I think all the leaders going forward are going to have to exhibit those characteristics, because the current clown show we have is full of gaslighting, lies, and deceit, and all the people that are currently occupying seats of power have to go, in my humble opinion, and hopefully peacefully.
What a crazy concept that our leaders have to embody truth and integrity, right?
Absolutely. And here's the thing about Bobby. So, you know, when I joined the campaign, there was the first call. It was the exploratory committee before he decided to run, and I was tapped for that. So I was there early days, and he said on the call, there were some pollsters on the call, and he said, "Look, guys, I'm going to lead. A lot of candidates lead from behind with the polls. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to speak what I believe to be true. I'm not going to be poll driven." And when I heard that, that's when I was like, "This is going to be great." And so you can see from his public appearances, he's not holding any punches. He's not, testing something first to see if it's going to resonate with the public. He's just saying what he believes to be true. And again, one of the biggest parts of his platform is freedom first. And we have medical tyranny and lack of First Amendment rights in this country at the moment. And until we get those back, all the other issues you may or may not agree with Bobby on are kind of kicking around sand in the sandbox. Without those core tenets of medical autonomy and freedom of speech, we got nothing. So that's what we can all rally around. Get back to that. You get and he's very familiar with all the agencies. He's worked with them in his prior environmental law practices, and he knows how the bureaucracy works, and he knows how it's been perverted and corrupted. So he's the man for me, and I think he's the man for the nation.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air to see a candidate who speaks his truth, and it resonates in 10 seconds of listening to him. It's like, well, here's a guy who really is telling you what he really thinks. It's not some canned line. It hasn't been ironed out and gone through all the approvals of all these committees and fundraisers. It's like, he's telling you what he truly believes. It's, and it's noticeable for me, and I think for a lot of people too. I mean, he's got some great poll numbers, and depending on who you ask, I mean, I've heard behind the scenes that if you look at the real numbers, he's not actually far behind Biden, even though I think the official polls have him at 20%, which is still super strong for a candidate that just announced.
Yeah, what's interesting is the establishment press is starting to talk about the fact that Biden has a Kennedy problem, and that's a good thing. And it is a problem. And there's chatter amongst the oligarchic class that they have to figure out a way to get rid of Biden and get someone else in there soon, because if this is allowed to continue, Bobby has a very high chance of grabbing the nomination if they don't fix it. The establishment, that is, not us, obviously.
Can Bobby grab the nomination from a Democratic Party that won't even let Biden debate? Is that possible?
I think it's possible. And what's going on is guerrilla media. I mean, his message is getting out there. He was asked, does he care about the censorship? And he said, no. There's a lot of independent voices. The trust in the media has never been so low. This COVID debacle, this vaccine debacle has shattered the trust in many institutions. And, personally, my social media metrics continue to accelerate. And that's not because of me per se, it's because of the information and message that I have. And people are finding me word of mouth, and it's spreading. I can sense a spreading acceleration of what the truth is getting out there. I mean, obviously, lives need to be saved, and I'd love for the people in charge to declare the truth. But if we have to spread it word of mouth, then so be it.
I did a search for him here in London on my Google in the news just to see who was covering him, and of course, The Guardian came up, one of the publications here in London, and it called Robert a conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer, and then was just pulling out all this nonsense. And I was like, really? That's how you're going to cover this guy? And I don't know. Sometimes I continually to be shocked at what the mainstream media does, to things. It still surprises me after all these years.
Well, I put out a tweet a couple of weeks ago that we have a dearth of conspiracy theories. We're undersupplied because a lot of the ones we had have come true. So we need new ones. It's
so true. After we got done fighting YouTube in 2020 and we set up our Freedom platform, and on that platform I had, people like Bobby and a bunch of other doctors that were speaking the truth. After that, I ran to be mayor of London. So I spent 7 months in the spotlight with the mainstream media coming after me. So I know what it feels like to read a headline and you're reading about somebody that has your name, but it has not a single shred of truth in it. And it's like clickbait done to the extreme, and to see publication after publication after publication come out with that. So I know what it feels like, but I'm glad Bobby is confident that, like you said, the guerrilla media will get the message out to people. And yeah, him against Biden, you're right. They should really start to worry, because it's night and day. And again, it's just, you couldn't make this stuff up. Biden takes a fall yesterday, and it's just like, they're still going to try to sell that to the public. And versus Bobby, it's just kind of hard to believe. But I guess potentially those are the two candidates, right?
Yeah. The Biden fall was interesting. People wanted me to, retweet that. And I'm at the point now where it's just sad, and I don't need to highlight an old man falling. What I think we should all do, collectively is shame folks who even try to pretend that this is okay. It's not, making fun of Biden is kind of passe. We should make fun of the people who actually try to gaslight us in our own discussions locally and with friends. If anybody at a cocktail party says to me anything about Biden that's remotely favorable, I'm good. You just shame them right then and there, and you just say, look, I can't take you seriously. This guy's not well. He's sick.
Yeah, I had similar feelings. Like, I don't like putting someone down, but then I also see that he's embodying some just terrible things to happen to the country. So yeah, I think your call is probably the better way to go there. And again, I've heard Bobby talk about this censorship industrial complex that he's dealing with. But this is probably the best thing that he could do for his quote unquote image, because they were able to pigeonhole him, kind of last year. And even though his book was like the bestseller in America, he couldn't get any coverage. But it feels like with him running for president, now the media is having to address him somewhat. And I feel like people are really starting to see more of what he's about, which I think is good for everybody. So yeah, I was really happy to see you on board with that, and wishing you all the best. Let me know how we can help over here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you got to pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.